reason that Geordie, and again, this is not a slanderous take by me. The reason that these kind of videos get more views is because they lean into the controversy, the conspiracy, the lowest hanging fruit. I got to be honest, the lowest hanging fruit of what's happening here, because it's far more easy to go against the grain. Not to say that this is what Brian's doing, because I think he believes it, but it's far more easy to go against the grain of the official narrative, where in 2026, believing the official narrative or just what your eyeballs show you is somehow frowned upon, and what is encouraged is make something up. You know what I'm saying? Just make something up. True Geordie put a video out today that said 30 million reasons Conor McGregor would hide his injury. Would hide his injury. The first video was, is Conor McGregor lying about the injury? Now, these two aren't definitive statements in the thumbnail or title. But Brian goes on to make some opinionated definitive statements.
Sponsors site, young LA, as boom. Oh, and if you don't, you might just let's buy for 15%.
All right, here we go.
Everyone, I'm taking you to fucking court today, lad. Yes, today I am putting the case of Conor McGregor to you, the jury, because I've had time to think about everything. I've time to absorb all of the other theories and all of the information. And some people are saying, you know, there's no concrete evidence that Conor McGregor was hurt before the fight. And
this is true.
I guess that's a fair point in that there isn't like the smoking gun that proves it all. But this footage came out of Conor McGregor just days before his fight, apparently walking into Newport Pain Management Clinic, where a knee specialist is located. That doesn't look good, right? Let's fucking be real here.
So, number one.
You'll do what you're told.
I have to say it now. People are still not believing me on the internet. But number one, this place is not called Newport Pain Management Clinic. He walked into a medical plaza, the name of which is called Newport Medical Plaza. There's no evidence that Conor went into Newport Pain Management Clinic. There's no evidence that Conor went into a separate office that's located in that same building called Kramer Orthopedics. That is a knee specialist facility. There's no evidence that Conor McGregor walked into the physical therapy clinic that's in this facility. And you might be asking yourself, Wade, how are you naming all these things off? Why would you know anything about what's in that facility? Because I also went to the facility, dude. I also went. When people talk about medical information, private medical information that a doctor's office can provide or can't, they're referring to a patient's medical file. That's what they're referring to. Unless someone is a patient of theirs, which Conor wasn't, and they don't want to give you an answer, they have every right to do that. Conor was not a patient there. He never went into the knee specialist clinic. He never went into the pain management clinic. He never went into the physical therapy clinic. Other offices in this plaza include multiple dentist offices. I'm pretty sure a data center at some point, or a data networking place, an orthodontics office, an ophthalmologist, among other things, just normal desk space. There was a pharmacy on the first floor, which Conor may have gone into the pharmacy. I didn't see him come out with anything in his hands other than the bottle he went in with.
That looks terrible. But again, it's not 100% proof, is it? We don't have any concrete proof of what he was there for, what the hell was going on. Doesn't look good. The same way this video of Conor McGregor taking his shoe off and struggling to put weight on that leg.
Immediately puts weight on the leg. Immediately puts weight on the leg. This is what I don't understand about this video. And this is not just Geordie saying this. There has been a narrative that's come out that Conor did not want to put weight on the leg. He hops twice and immediately puts weight on the leg. He's taking a shoe off. By the way, he's barefoot in a shoe. When you don't wear socks in a shoe, what happens?
Taking his shoe off and struggling to put weight on that leg.
Put weight on the leg. Simultaneously, there's weight on the leg.
It doesn't look good. But
there's so much weight on the leg, by the way, that his other foot is off the ground. This foot isn't even on the ground. All of his weight is on that leg. How is he struggling to put weight on the foot? Then what are we doing?
Good. But it isn't concrete proof. I hear that. But do you know what else there isn't concrete proof of? That he was fine before the fight. There's none. Because he...
That's true. I'll give Geordie this. I can't concretely prove that Conor didn't have an injury, a bump and bruise, anything. I can't. Just like I can't prove that Max Holloway didn't have a bump and bruise, an injury, anything. Or any of the other 15 to 16 fighters on the card I can't prove had a bump and bruise or anything. What I can prove is that I am not the only one that thinks Conor wasn't injured. And I'm not only saying I think Conor wasn't injured because I don't see him being injured. I am saying that because the man himself said it. I had no injuries going into the fight. This is right after the fight ends. I was throwing kicks, planted and jumping, all throughout camp, as well as backstage before the fight. This came out of nowhere. How many times has Conor gotten injured before his fights and then after his fights showed you I was injured or told you I was injured? Every single time he was injured. Every single time. When he fought Max the first time, he told everyone after he had torn his ACL. When he fought the second time with Dustin Poirier, he said he had some issues going in. When he fought against Khabib, my foot was a balloon. When he when he broke his shit, he broke his leg the third time versus Dustin Poirier. They put it in the Netflix documentary. When he was about to fight Michael Chandler, this should blow a hole in the whole thing. Conor pulled out of the Michael Chandler fight because he was injured. How do you say that he had 30 million reasons to fight in this fight? How many million reasons did Conor not have for the Michael Chandler fight?
He comes out and throws this kick immediately, bouncing off of his left foot, putting no weight on his right foot.
Incorrect again. Geordie says he immediately comes out and throws this kick, bouncing off his left foot, putting no weight on his right foot. How does Conor get across the cage? How does Conor get across the cage to throw that kick? How does he? He puts weight on the foot. Let's go back because Geordie showed, this is the interesting part. Geordie showed this as where the video starts. All right? Geordie shows this as where the video starts. Where, by the way, he is pushing off this foot. Like, that's a push off the right foot. Okay? That's a push off the right foot. But the video actually starts here.
So as he steps forward,
Look.
watch
Look at that.
this.
How did he get from one place to the other?
So as he steps forward,
Is that putting weight on the right foot? Wow, that's putting a lot of weight on the right foot. Wow, he's really extending here. He went and leaped onto the left foot. Here's another angle.
Go back.
That looks like a lot of weight on that foot. Wow.
Go back. So the
That
proof.
looks like a lot of weight.
Go back.
To propel from here to there, you got to have explosion. Interesting.
Immediately bouncing off of his left foot, putting no weight on his right foot, and trying to land that. And at no point do we see Conor McGregor using his right foot to be able to move in and out of range, throwing punches healthily. We have zero evidence of that. Yes, we have him hitting the
I was
pads.
going to say, we have it about 5 minutes before the 5 minutes before the fight starts. And also, let's just look at this one more time so that I
Throwing
can
no
give
point
you
do we off of
what
his
I think is the actual reason he was injured here. Okay? This is why I think the actual injury happened. Ready?
Right. There's none. Because he comes...
I think the actual injury happens, and I've said this a couple different times in videos. One of the best clippers, okay, maybe Geordie did clip this out of context, but one of the best explanations I can come up with was that Conor has drilled this technique over and over and over, and he's done this technique multiple times, but he's never done it on a full sprint like this. He's never done it at 170 pounds, and he's never done it being 38 years old. Honestly, there could be some credence to, the HGH and steroid usage and how much that, potentially affected ligaments and tendons. I don't know that. That one's a little bit out of my pay grade. But there's definitely wear and tear on his body, for sure. And definitely trying to use like a massive explosive movement to start the fight at 38 years old versus working your way into it was a terrible idea. I also, Conspiracy Hat Wade thinks that fog and the mist and the whole shit they were spraying on the canvas before the fight made things a little slippery. But I can't prove that either. Now, this is what I think happens.
Out and throws this kick immediately, bouncing off of his...
on one side of the Monster Energy can, right? In warm-ups, he does this kick with a tie pad right here on whoever his coach was. Okay? That tie pad stops his momentum from continuing forward after he lands the kick. He lands on his leg. It's still not a great landing, but he lands on his leg and then pivots back and gets back to his southpaw stance. Here,
his left foot, putting no weight on his right foot.
There's no tie pad to hit. He's flying like eagle across the octagon. Max is like, cool, I saw that from a mile away. Let me get out of here. And when he lands, he's not body weight over his knee, hitting the tie pad and coming back. He's body weight behind his knee while momentum's going forward, and that leg isn't going with him. Bop him, sock him, dude. Twist it, bop it, tore it.
And at no point...
It's over. All right? That's what I think happened. And I think it's perfectly plausible to say that Conor did a movement, used an attack that he has not used in that way, with way too much adrenaline, got overzealous, was kicking a pad. The pad was no longer there. Just like if you throw a jab or a right hand and you hit the heavy bag, whatever, and for whatever, or the double in bag, and you're throwing way too hard and you miss, your shoulder can dislocate. How many times have we seen boxers throw the right hand and crack someone, but if they miss and they overthrow it, the shoulder comes out? Why is that? Because they overextended. Or they tear a bicep because they overextended. That's it. Seen it happen.
Do we see Conor McGregor using his right foot to be able to move in and out of range, throwing punches healthily? We have zero evidence of that. Yes, we have him hitting the pads like this and seemingly struggling to regain his balance after kicking the pad once and then walking off after, the third kick? That still is...
No! That's not the only footage. And also, that's a very pointed way to frame that. We also have him doing this same warm-up. Perfectly fine. Walking around. Oh, we're bouncing. We're moving. Hi-ya! Landing. And we're flipping our hips back to southpaw. Why is this clip not included in True Geordie's breakdown? This is right in the same time that he took the other clip from. You could tell Conor was high on drugs and loaded. Okay, well, that's not true because he's in a State Athletic Commission sanctioned fight. It's okay to not get everything right, dude. I know, it's me saying that, the guy that doesn't necessarily always admit when he's wrong, but this one I'm not wrong about. It's okay. Just say, you know what? I didn't get it right.
No proof that Conor McGregor was in any way healthy enough to do a 25-minute fight with Max Holloway, jumping in and out of range, hitting pads the way he used to. Think of how static McGregor was when he was throwing those kicks. Now look at McGregor when he's in full flow, bouncing around, jumping all over the place. I mean, look... He's
not throwing kicks here. He's boxing.
And fluid movement. This is exactly what McGregor is. It's all about movement and fluid movement. It's not about standing in one...
He's boxing. He's a featherweight. He's not throwing any kicks. What are we doing? What are we doing? Yeah, of course he's not going to look like he's, throwing kicks when he's not throwing any kicks. When he's got both of his feet on the ground, he's going to move better than when he has one foot on the ground. I don't understand what we're doing.
Spot like that. That's McGregor on pads in full flow. We did not see that. So whichever side of the fence you sit on, there's no one who can say, aha, I've got proof. There is no one who's got that proof.
Well, I had proof that he didn't go to the clinics that everybody thinks he went to. I have that proof. Me. Big Dog Wade. I got that one. That's me. But as far as did he injure himself, in camp and not tell anybody about it, according to him, that's not the case. According to his head coach, that's not the case. According to the media team that follows him around, that's his own media team, the Mac Life, that's not the case. But if you don't believe those three sources, then I guess there is no proof.
They've not released any sparring footage that's provable from the day before or anything like that. There's nothing. And this...
We just watched him kick pads like 10 minutes before. That's provable. Like that footage that Geordie didn't show in his video that I just showed you is almost provable fact that he was completely fine before he walked into that octagon. I'll show it again. How are we acting like this video did not exist? Of him throwing the same technique.
Before the fight. But I've thought about it, and you know what? All of that's irrelevant now, because that body language, so much of it was...
Oh, so it's body language. So all these things are irrelevant because of the body language. Here we go.
Screaming out to someone like me who knows McGregor the way I've been watching him so closely for so many years.
I also have watched Conor McGregor since his debut in the UFC. So I don't know if I can necessarily dispel any opinions because I've watched him for a very long time. But I will admit, yes, he looked different than he looked in his prime. But I don't, just because he looked different, immediately go, he must have been lying about this, that, the other. He didn't really look much different, I'll be honest, than he looked in his Baldy return.
Analyzing him for video after video after fucking video, I fucking know some shit is wrong when I see it. And you can disagree with me all you like, I don't take any offense. But even on the motherfucking ring walk, man, this is a normal Conor McGregor ring walk.
This is Conor McGregor before he is about to fight Chad Mendes for the featherweight interim belt. This is not Conor McGregor off of a 1 year, 2 year layoff. After being beaten by Habib, after being beaten in boxing, after having taken so much time off of the sport, coming back, fighting in front of a not as big crowd at UFC 257. And again, the same scenario this time.
Okay, this is how he walks out the ring. Look at the fucking intensity in his eyes, man.
Also, again, we're talking about, look at the intensity in his eyes and look how his face looks in the walkout to prove he was injured before a fight.
It's all about the fight. It's all about, I can't wait to get in there and fucking put a beating on this guy. I am ready. And just watch
That's
the
not
way
even a bad take. Wander says, maybe Conor doesn't want to act crazy anymore since he found Jesus. Maybe Conor's, I'm not saying this is the truth. Maybe Conor's ego got shattered a little bit with the loss to Habib, with the loss to Dustin Poirier, and maybe he's just not as violent, or his head is not as violent as it once was. He's made everything in life. Maybe he just doesn't have that killer instinct anymore. I know it's the most old adage in the book, but the waking up in silk sheets, are you still the same guy? I don't know. But that's more plausible to me.
he carries on shadow boxing the whole time. He's in the fucking zone, right? This is all about the fight, rehearsing the fight in his head over and over and over again. The fight that's about to happen. Now look at him. Looks like he's going to the fucking shop. Looks like he's going to walk.
When we talk about Deontay Wilder, how he went and did ayahuasca and came back and did not have anywhere near the same venom and violence that he once had. You think Conor doing the Ibogaine and rededicated himself to religion is potentially messing with that? Possibly.
The dog Do you know what I mean? There's nothing.
What'd he say?
And shop. Looks like he's going to walk the dog. Do you know what I mean?
He lost the dog. He went out to walk the dog.
There's nothing. There is absolutely no intensity there. That doesn't look like a man who's about to have a fucking fight. Not his first fight in 5 years, where he should be a bit edgy, a bit twitchy. This is a man who's nothing's about to happen here. This is nout. Look at him. If you can't see,
listen, I agree with that. Conor did not look like the old Conor walking out. I just don't attribute it to a conspiracy of him hiding an injury to get a bag of $30 million. I contribute it to the change in a person, the years out of the game, potential nervousness, potentially just being comfortable in where he's at now, or losing his edge, or all these things that are more likely to me.
the black and white, clear as day difference in that behaviour, right? Whatever you think about the injury, that's not even up for debate right now. We're not even talking about that. But I need you who are open-minded out there to just think about what I'm saying. Is that behaviour massively different? Even if you have...
I agree, yeah, it is different.
Different reasons for it. We can all agree, scientifically, yes, right? Very, very different. Now, some of you might say it's because
The body language PhD scientifically.
he hasn't fought in 5 years and all that. Yeah, I'll get to that. But let's just agree, fucking wildly different. Now, let me just theorise that there was an injury in the 24 to 48 or a week before the fight, whatever, that he knew about. He's got two.
Well, again, if there was a week before the fight, if there was 48, 24, we would have seen it in the warm-up. So he's theorizing this, but I have to cut the theory down before he even starts. I'll let him keep going with his theory, but the theory gets absolutely fucking flipped on its head and exposed. The only way you can say Conor had an injury at this point, I'm convinced, is if you are trying to convince me that he got injured between the time where he showed that video in the backstage where he's throwing kicks and the time he walked out. Literally in the walkout is when you're going to have to convince me he got injured. Because we see him throwing the same technique perfectly fine. There's no answer for that, by the way. There's no comeback for, here's the video of him looking completely fine beforehand. Other than, well, he may have had a potential small injury. And that I can agree with you. Because that's nothing. Everybody has a potential small injury coming in. I have had a hip labrum tear in my right hip for probably 10 years now. I can still run. I can still jump, even though my knees fucking suck. I can still box. By the way, want to know by way of. I can still do things that have zero or close to zero effect on my athletic ability with labral tears in my hip. That's it.
Choices. He either pulls out, the UFC put him back on the shelf, which they did last time he pulled out for 2 fucking years, and he misses out on one of the final mega money paydays of his career, which there's not many left given his age, his body deteriorating, and the way the UFC keep fucking putting him on ice for years on end.
This is the thing I don't understand. This is the thing I don't understand. Why is this the last potential payday for Conor? Why is it? Is the assumption that the UFC is not going to book Conor if he pulls out of this fight? Because they just booked him after he pulled out of the Chandler fight.
Fucking $1 million we're talking about here. Even as rich as...
Which he would make, again, this whole $30 million he wouldn't have made. Conor will make $30 million when he comes back again. Or 25. Or 20. Like, what? It'll still be a massive bag. Because he drives that kind of business. Even now. Even now. He drives that kind of business.
Conor McGregor is. That's a lot of money. He's not selling any more whiskey bottles with the fucking shit he's been...
China, I guarantee you Conor McGregor's next fight sells out. Guarantee it. Guarantee it. He could be fighting the fucking postman out here, and there's enough casual fans that will watch him. It does not matter what just happened. Again, it may not be the 26 mil, but of course he will. Of course he will. And you guys can say, oh, well, I'm watching that shit too. Crazy. Just like Jake Paul, even though he just got his fucking wig split by Anthony Joshua, you best believe the next time he comes out, people are watching, dude. It's just, that's what stars do. The only time it goes away is when you run the gimmick fucking into the ground. Ask Floyd Mayweather.
Through in his reputation, let me tell you, Conor McGregor's money for the rest of his life is going to be made in the next few years. Get that through your heads because it's a fucking fact. I'm not lying about that. People don't want to buy
I don't know about that either. I don't know. What's his? I got to hear his reasoning.
Product of a bloke with his reputation anymore. That's done. So if he knows,
I don't know. I mean, Mike Tyson still has multiple streams of revenue outside of fighting, even though he blew a lot of money. He had the weed business for a long time there. People forget very quickly. And I hate to say that because, listen, you don't have to like Conor, and if you don't like him because of the sexual assault stuff, that's completely understandable. But people will forget. And it's just the reality of the situation is time goes on, and in 10 years, if Conor is still bopping around, especially Americans, maybe not Irish people, because Irish people seem like they left him at the door. Maybe not people in the UK, but Americans will forget, dude. They will. Tyson still sells. Conor will still sell based off his name. It's just the reality, I think. So I don't know where Geordie's getting that people don't want to buy products off people like him. It happens all the time. It happens all the time. So, yeah.
On competing there. My knee is fucked, but I've done this training camp and I've finally got the UFC to finally give us a fucking fight. I've hyped the fuck out of it. We've got all these pay-per-view buys coming in. We're breaking the record gate in the UFC.
But they don't have pay-per-view buys unless he's talking about, like, I don't know, TNT. That's another thing. We're fighting on Paramount Plus. There are no pay-per-view buys. Now, he just may be misspeaking. It may just be colloquially. He means, like, streaming signups, but that's not the business anymore. This isn't the business. It's not a pay-per-view business anymore. So if he means streaming signups, I understand. But then again, that will happen when Conor fights anytime he fights.
Do I pull out and fuck $30 million up the wall, or do I get in that cage, make it look like I got the injury in there, get the doctor stoppage, and cash that fucking $30 million check?
That's the most ridiculous shit I've ever heard. Now, Geordie can have this opinion, and that's fine. And he can believe it, and I do think he believes it. But there's just no evidence for it. And if you go, Wade, well, you have no evidence for yours. I do. It may be circumstantial evidence, but I at least have something. Right? And I have multiple things that we can point to and say, well, no, this is Conor saying he's not injured. This is his coach saying he's not injured. This is his lead media member who's doing the behind-the-scenes filming of him saying the same. It's the UFC saying the same. He's warming up in the back, perfectly fine 5 minutes before he walks. This idea that he went to a pain management clinic, it's not true because I went and investigated it. These are things that I can point to as evidence, and if the only thing that you have to combat that is, well, Conor wouldn't say, even though he has said before multiple times after his fights, when he was injured, how he was injured, the UFC would be in on it. No evidence for it. His body language felt off. Makes sense. 5 years out of the game. Maybe a little nervous. Maybe a little questioning. Maybe worried about his other leg because fucking broken in half. These are things that don't matter. There's no evidence for it. And I can rebut it.
What you would do. Just think about that. I know what I would fucking do. It's a no-brainer, in my opinion. Think about how they...
But these are So Geordie's saying, think about what you would do. He's basing what would you do off of the premise that he is already injured and knows it, which I think is false.
UFC have fucked him around after the last few years. Think about all the injuries he's getting. How many opportunities like this is he going to get again? He said repeatedly, I need to get the end of this contract so I can at least have the option of going into boxing. He's got 2 fights left on his contract.
That's not even true. That's not even true. Conor hasn't repeatedly said that he needs to get to the end of this contract so that he can go into boxing. Conor has actually repeatedly said, we'll see what happens. I'd like to remain with the UFC.
In there, take the doctor stoppage, get the 30 million, get one of those fights down on my contract, and then I've got 1 left.
I didn't have any money down on Max Holloway. I actually had money on Conor in the first round. Another fallacy debunked. Get fucked.
Even if you don't believe the theory that he was injured, let's just say he was injured, it makes fucking sense that you would do that. It makes perfect sense.
Even if you don't believe he was injured, hold on, what?
On my contract, and then I've got 1 left. Even if you don't believe the theory that he was injured, let's just say he was injured, it makes fucking sense.
Even if you don't believe he was injured, let's just say he was. If you are giving the premise that he is injured and I have to accept it, if my hands are tied and you're going, okay, hypothetically, he's injured. I don't agree with it, right? I would immediately go, well, no, I don't agree with that. But if you're making me believe that, then sure, your hypothetical based off the other hypothetical makes sense. But if I tell you, I know you don't think I can fly. I can jump up in the air and fly out that window right now. But let's just say that I can. Where do you think I would go? Who do you think I would go see first? Could I get to the state of Nevada in 20 minutes? It doesn't make any sense. You know? And you'd be like, well, yeah, you know, it would make sense you could get there in 20 minutes. But you're accepting the fact that I can fucking sprout wings and fly. Yeah, I know the chat's like, wait, Wade can fly? Conspiracy confirmed.
That you would do that. It makes perfect sense. It makes a lot more sense to lie and get the 30 million than to be honest and not get the 30 million. What are you...
Again, I don't even understand that premise, because if Conor is injured coming into the fight and he accepts the fight, knowingly being injured, that wouldn't be a lie, because we've seen fighters go into fights knowingly injured and still fight and still get their money. He didn't have to lie about it. So again, I don't even understand that premise.
Reckon. The man's had one fight in 5 fucking years. Do you not think he wants that money? I'm fucking sure he does. And if you were going into a fight knowing it wasn't going to be a fight, would you look like this? Would you look nonplussed and not worried at all? Because you know, I'm not going to get knocked out here. I'm going to throw this fucking kick.
Again, he looked just like this in the UFC 257 fight. He looked just like this. This whole like walking around, head down stuff, he looked just like this in the Baldy fight. The point I'm making is every fight, that's actually the point I'm making. Every fight's a different version of confidence. Every fight, especially when you've been off for as long as you've been off, is a different version of the fighter than before. That actually makes my point more. Thank you.
Because, you know, I'm not going to get knocked out here. I'm going to throw this fucking kick, go down, maybe I might take a few shots. I'm going to cover up, and then the referee will say I'm injured and it'll be all over. Which might be why Conor McGregor was more interested in the fucking crowd than his opponent.
Which we just saw in 257. We saw the same thing.
Something that we don't usually see from him. Normally he's locked onto his opponent, trying to intimidate them. He didn't bother. Why am I going to intimidate a guy I barely even got a fucking fight? And just look at him here. Nonplussed. He doesn't look nervous. He doesn't look like he's about to have a fight. He looks like he could be out to the fucking shops, man. He's more interested in the crowd. He's more kissing the fucking crowd. What the fuck?
We just saw the same thing at UFC 257.
This? When has McGregor been like this? He's normally so intense on his opponent, and yet there he is. Nothing's happening. People say, no, he's nervous because of 5 years out the octagon. He's not nervous. He doesn't give up. He looks like he's nonplussed. Tries to do a bit of shadow boxing.
I think he does look a little nervous. I think he does look a little bit like, I'm trying to be myself in this moment, but I'm also trying to give the people the show of like Conor McGregor a bit. I do think that he is a little nervous.
And gives up immediately, and then
and the reason I think he's a little nervous is because he gives this one right here. Trying to calm himself. You know, just let me keep this together. He's probably nervous, but also excited. Nervousness and excitement exist in the same ecosystem, right? I get nervous before. I remember being a kid and getting nervous before I had a foot race, but I was also excited. I get nervous and excited before football games. Before my fight, I was nervous, but I was excited. These things happen in this. Imagine having a nervous system. These things happen. Anxiety is right there with that same like excitement and adrenaline and all of that, man. Anticipation.
He knows that deep breath is, this isn't what I want to fucking do. I think he wants to fight. I think he wants to compete. I think he's gone in there knowing that's not a possibility for him at all.
I think that's ridiculous. I do think he wants to fight and compete. Wade's a sellout. Yes, I'm a sellout being completely independent on my YouTube channel.
And that's a sigh of frustration. The situation he's in, because all of those people who he's blowing kisses to have paid the money, paid the tickets, made their bets, all on him, all for him, and he knows no one's getting there.
Conor was not where all the money came in on. A lot of money came in on Conor, but a lot more money came in on Max because he was the betting favorite. So, again, he didn't have more money came in on Max.
Fucking money's worth tonight. That's why McGregor doesn't look motivated, because there's nothing to get motivated for. He knows there is no fucking fight about to take place here. It's going to be over in a minute. He already knows it, and he didn't feel good about it. And this moment...
This is what I'm saying. This is the theory that I can't take seriously at all, that Conor knew this was all coming. that he was going to throw this kick to intentionally get out of the fight. I can't take that serious. I can't. There's no evidence for it. There's no basis for it.
When he takes this deep breath, is him not feeling good about it. He doesn't feel good about what's about to happen here.
He takes a deep breath again to calm himself.
At all. And immediately he's down and again, tries to throw it again, make it look believable. You wouldn't do that again. If the kick didn't work the first time, McGregor's smart enough to know he's expecting it. Why would you throw it the second time? It's to make it look believable.
He didn't even throw the same kick the second time. He throws the kick the second time because he doesn't know the extent of the injury. He still thinks he's in the fight. Holy fuck. True, you wouldn't.
Smart enough to know he's expecting it. Why would you throw it a second time?
Oh,
it's to make
Lord.
it
It's
look
not the same technique.
believable. And when he gets back
So
up
what?
here, remember what I said about his... Would you throw it? And again...
This is not the same technique. This is just a head kick. It's just a head kick.
Tries to throw it.
And he can't land on his foot. This is where realization is sitting in. Oh, fuck. There is something wrong with my knee. Ah, shit. This isn't just I landed wrong. Something's actually wrong here. I give Conor credit for continuing to try to fight. Max starts punching down on him. And this is another thing that blows this whole let me get out of here theory completely out of the water. Max starts punching down on him. And Max confirmed this. So I guess we're not going to believe Max Holloway. Max confirmed this, that Conor is laying on the ground. Max is looking at the referee saying, dude, you got to stop this. He's hurt. Conor looks at Max and says, stop. Keep fighting. Keep fighting. Don't talk to him. Keep fighting.
Make it look believable. You wouldn't do that again. If the kick didn't work the first time, McGregor's smart enough to know he's expecting it. Why would you throw it a second time?
He didn't throw the same kick. He threw a head kick.
It's to make it look believable. And when
It's just insane to hear Geordie say. That's so insane to hear true Geordie, a fight fan, say that. That is insane to me.
he gets back up here, remember what I said about his inability to really move forward with the right leg first. He tries to move...
Yeah, because his fucking knee is torn. Because fucking 20 seconds earlier, he fucking tore his knee apart.
Forward with the right leg, but he can't close the distance with the right leg, and again he falls down and it's over. Now think about it logically. If you'd have been completely 1000% healthy in your training camp and this is a total shock to you, oh my god, I can't believe this has happened, you'd look shocked. We all know how McGregor was when he got injured last time and how bloody theatrical he was. Of course, he was in a lot of pain, but it was a surprise. Even then he said it was a pre-existing injury, but he was still shocked. Look at his face. Don't tell me he's shocked. Fucking tell me he's shocked. Like, that's a man who is not surprised in the slightest at what just took place at the knee, at anything. There's nothing surprising to him in that fucking moment whatsoever. And this is when he broke his leg, you know?
Still one of the funniest memes of all time, Joe Rogan getting down there.
Still raging, still desperate to get on the mic, still desperate to have his say, to tell everyone what he's thinking, what he's feeling, to have all the attention on him. Couldn't wait to have his say. Slagging off Poirier's wife and everything. And yet this time, he can't get out of the cage quick enough. No interview, doesn't want to say what happened, when the injury happened. He doesn't look surprised. He doesn't
want to say what happened when the injury happened. What do you mean? The injury happened in the cage. Just so you know, I just was injured in front of your eyes, right in front of you. If you didn't see it happen right there, what was he supposed to say? This is consistent with what Conor is telling everybody. Why would he need to tell them when the injury happened when they all saw it happen? We have to have a formal investigation right then in the cage? He's upset. He wants to leave. I get it.
and say things to the fans. We know McGregor really cares about the fans and what they think, generally speaking, and wants to put on a show for them. Yet this time, didn't want to be asked a single fucking question about this injury. Not one question he wanted to take. When have we known that from McGregor? So while we do not have...
He was there. He was at the plaza. He was not at the pain management clinic. He was not at the knee specialist clinic. He was not at the physical therapy clinic. Sorry, wrong answer. I was actually there. You weren't.
Evidence exactly proving that McGregor was...
Yes, I went to the... I went to the lady that told me I had depressed shoulders. That's a true story.
Injured and knew he was injured prior to this fight. What we do have are things that we've never seen before from Conor McGregor. Multiple things. The way he was hitting pads did not look the same. The way he walked into the octagon.
The way he was hitting pads didn't look the same. What are you talking about? The example Geordie showed of him hitting pads was him punching the mitts, and the other example is him kicking the pads, so of course they don't look the same. You could say Conor looks slower, and yeah, he's at 170 pounds, and he's 38. Sure, okay. Doesn't mean he's injured. The walkout looks, or at least him in the cage, looks very similar to him at UFC 257.
Was completely different to any way we've ever seen him before, ever. The way he looked as they were announcing his name, no intimidation tactics, no nothing, doesn't even want to look at his opponent. Never seen that before. And a Conor McGregor who never wanted to get on the microphone and have his say after losing a fight in such a way at all. There are multiple things here where Conor McGregor behaves completely differently to any way we've ever seen him act before. And Robert Whittaker
Not true.
was getting interviewed, I think, by Ariel Helwani, and
Hey, wait, off topic, but thoughts on Rolly Teo? I think Rolly's got a good shot in that fight.
he said the only reason you would throw that kick when you already had an injury is because you wanted a way out. You did not want a reason. You've seen him act before. And Robert Whittaker was getting interviewed, I think, by Ariel Helwani, and he said the only reason you would throw that kick when you already had an injury is because you wanted a way out.
Did you hear the way that he framed this question? The only reason you'd throw that kick when you had an injury. As if to say that's the full-on truth. Why would you throw that kick if you didn't have an injury? Because you wanted to? Because you practiced it for months in camp? Because you practiced it in the back? So again, this is all working off the premise that's been made up, that Conor had a pre-existing injury that no one has any evidence for. Zero. Zilch. Nada. It's like, you can't just make up the premise and then use examples of how to confirm the made-up premise and act like it's the truth. It's not.
Did not want to actually have a fight because you're not capable of having a fight and you need to get the fuck out of there as quick as you can. So you make it look realistic. You make it look like that's when the injury took place. And I present to you lot, the jury, that that's exactly what happened. He weighed it all up in his head.
You are guilty, sir. Brian, I love you, but the jury finds you guilty on all charges. You are guilty of falling into the conspiracy, sir. Your sentence is more YouTube videos that I can react to.
The UFC, when am I going to next get a chance for a payday like this? How many of these do I even have left? I've done all this work. I've finally got
Evidence is your eyes. Yes, I've shown you multiple times in this video the actual evidence using your eyes. But, you know, some of you guys don't want to have it. So you can hold the timeout, and I'll father you because no one else has. For the spam.
Give us a fight. I've done the promo. The tickets are bought. I am ready to make a fucking fortune here.
It would not be illegal for the clinic to answer that question. We already went over it. Not HIPAA violation at all to state that someone is not a patient that's factually not a patient. It's like I just wait. I just catch, bam, counter. Catch, bam, counter. Bah, bah, everything. Everything. I got it ready. You can't get me with any of these. Because guess what? I think before I act.
Being in there and had a doctor stoppage against us anyway. What the fuck's another one? At least this time I'm not going to get beaten the fuck up.
You keep saying doctor stoppage. Conor lost this fight. Max won by TKO. He lost the fight.
Before it happens, I get in there, I take the fall, I maybe take a...
Conor was just obviously very disappointed because of the magnitude of the moment. He got hurt again, and of course, he wouldn't want to do an interview. Exactly, yeah. I mean, duh. Few
punches, the referee. Yeah. I've already been in there and had a doctor stoppage against us anyway. What the fuck's another one? At least this time I'm not going to get beaten the fuck up before it happens. I get in there, I take the fall, I maybe take a few punches, the referee stops it, and I'll make out with $30 million fucking dollars for my family. Because let's be real here, that's how men think. When it comes to money like that and securing your family's future, even if you've already got a bunch of money, that's what it comes down to, providing for your family. And I bet you, he'd have no fucking... Who would have...
Conor has far and away an easy way to provide for his family to the tune of about $300 million, which is his net worth. He's doing fine. The $30 million, if he didn't make it this fight, he'd make it in the next. Or the next, or the next. Because guess what? He is under a 2-fight deal with the UFC. He is going to sell out any fight he does, regardless if he pulls out late notice, because it just happened with Michael Chandler. Not just happened, but it happened with Michael Chandler. He came back and broke the fucking gate record. What are we talking about? Conor is always going to make that money, regardless who he fights. If your reasoning is Conor needed the $30 million or he's going to be broke, you're out of your fucking mind. He sold his whiskey business for $600 million, of which he got $200 million of. What? This isn't a Floyd Mayweather situation. You can say that, but Floyd Mayweather filed bankruptcy. What the fuck does Floyd Mayweather got to do with Conor McGregor? What are we talking about?
Doing it. 30 million fucking quid, I'd have done the same fucking thing, by the way. If I'm in this situation, it's no money, and who knows when I next fight again, or it's 30 million quid, and I get the fucking referee to stop it. Easy decision. And if you want to say, you know what, yes, he was acting differently, but it was all because he was nervous, because it was the first fight he'd had in 5 years. If you think Conor McGregor gets nervous about fighting, you don't know who the fuck he is.
Again, this is nothing. This is absolutely nothing. If you think Conor McGregor's a human, you don't know who he is. If you think Conor McGregor could have potentially changed from 2013 or 2016 to 2026, you don't know who he is. Maybe he changed a little bit. Maybe the fact that he lost in such devastating fashion to Khabib on the world stage, the biggest fight of his life, that he still can't let go of. That Conor still can't, because he's always just, anytime Khabib's name is right, that little rat, he scurried away. It fucks with him. The fact that he comes back to fight Dustin Poirier, gets starched, knocked out, and then comes back to do the rematch and breaks his leg. You don't think that would mentally affect anybody? So much so that he has these wild episodes outside of the cage. He can't get his life together. He's drinking, partying, the sexual assault, all of these things. His life is falling into depravity and chaos, to the point where he finally tries to get a hold of himself, does a 36-hour Ibogaine trip to find religion, changes his entire walk of life, tries to change his, his view on things, becomes a more peaceful individual, and then decides he's coming back to fighting. You don't think those things would change a person?
Every fighter I've ever watched in my entire fucking life, all the breakdowns I've ever done on every single fighter in my fucking entire life, the one fighter who never shows any fucking nerves ever is Conor McGregor. And
he did. He has.
Not only does he not get nervous, he wasn't nervous there. Do you think that was nerves? That was acceptance of what was about to happen.
Nerves, feeling the moment, maybe just, again, genuinely relaxed or trying to get there, trying to keep his nervous system in check. Excitement, maybe overexcitement mixed with nerves, all of it. Acceptance, get the fuck out of here. Acceptance of the pre-existing injury that I'm now going to go fake it up for the crowd so I can make $30 million. Get out of here.
Because he had no control over it. And that was I can't do nothing about this. That's my belief. That's my opinion.
So that's the face he made afterward as well. But that's not the acceptance of I can't do anything about being injured. It's just beforehand.
And it's just an opinion. It's all alleged, right?
True.
Is it possible I'm wrong? It is possible I'm wrong. And when I said it's all about running this contract down and all of that, he's already talking about it, man. Surgery, rehab, return to martial arts, go again, final fight of the contract. That's because he'd accepted that this was going to happen before.
It's the final fight of his deal, yeah. What? Yes, dude. Yes. Zach, come on. No one ducks MMA Hoagie, but you can go hang with him. Again, it's using, bits and pieces of information to retroactively fit a narrative you've created. That's what Geordie's doing here. I disagree with him, and I love him to death, and I do think he believes it. So there is no way, again, I can convince him otherwise. And I do respect that he says, you know what, I can be wrong. We can all be wrong. Hell, I could be wrong. But none of the information that's out proves me wrong. It proves him and the people that believe this conspiracy of Conor knowingly came into the fight with an injury wrong. That's the only information I can work off of, and really all of us can work off of, unless we make it up. Because then you can say anything. If you make up the information, you can just say anything, right? And I just, I can't do that.
For the fight even. He's mentally already further ahead than what he should be because this isn't a shock to him. As you've seen in the octagon after the fight.
Wade, what about your defense on Saudi Arabia I've never defended Saudi Arabia. What the fuck are you talking about? What?
Seen as he was walking out of the octagon, there was no surprise. This was going to happen. He knew it the whole time. And I've looked at this from all angles. So you lot can make your own mind up now. I've got my opinion and I respect anyone who disagrees. Fair folks. There's a lot of people I really respect in this industry who disagree with me.
That's me. That's me. And again, the same here. I respect Brian a ton. And honestly, there are things that I've looked to him for in the fight game and outside of it. I love when he talks about the fight game. I love when he talks about the shit going on in the UK with the government and immigration and all that stuff. I think he's spot on with that stuff. I just think he's wrong here. Dude. And that's okay because it doesn't matter. We're still going to be brothers till the end of this shit. And I love him to death, dude.